Welcome back, YouTubers, to our Victory Road review on the road to lockdown. We are the British Fist.
Good,
Mr. Parkin here, and this guy sitting next to me is none other than the mighty NJ.
What's up?
The First. Subscribe up above, like this video, and comment any thoughts you have on this pay-per-view down in the comment section below.
Make sure you contact us in the links in the description box below.
Yes, indeed. And TNA Victory Road on the way to lockdown. Very much looking forward to lockdown, but we had to get through this somewhat filler pay-per-view to get to lockdown, didn't we?
Keyword is filler, yes.
Oh, well, yes, okay. Well, maybe for you, but I may have different opinions. So we'll start off with... Well, we started off with Bully Ray, and what happened on earlier in the day on YouTube, they put a video out saying that he was going to hold Victory Road hostage, that he's going to go out there first. He's going to be the first thing you see, and he wants his match with James Storm to be a #1 contendership match. So we got Bully Ray coming out in a somewhat Impact Wrestling style TV show fashion, didn't we?
With Bully Ray opening, it was good. Obviously, Bully Ray is, as we've seen in the past, a great place to get the crowd going, his points across and a dominant way. But the whole contendership match, it was more of a contendership for Bully Ray because the match is pretty much sent for lockdown between Bobby Roode and James Storm, so it's more towards Bully Ray just wanting his involvement in the match.
Yeah, Bully Ray basically wants his #1 contendership, and then you have this whole thing with James Storm coming out saying that he's going to remove him from the ring, blah, 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 he's going to come for a fight. And then they have their match, James Storm versus Bully Ray. I think one of the matches we were, even though we've seen it a lot on free TV, it was still a match we really kind of looked forward to, even though it was kind of thrown on the card at the last minute. You had James Storm win in a minute. I think we'll give our separate opinions on this one. Go on, you go first.
Okay, this is a match I was looking forward to. One, it's got one of my favourites, or my favourite being Bully Ray. So it's a match I was looking forward to, a strong match, because this was going to be Bully Ray's chance to put over James Storm in such a strong way. In fact, they've done it in a minute. Really didn't do much for James Storm, didn't really do much for Bully Ray.
Did loads for James Storm, made him look very strong.
Still, it's just like, you need a good fight to actually put James Storm over, and I was really disappointed that it was the opener, and the fact that the match went so quick, and my favourite, the one I was looking forward to, just got squashed in a minute.
I mean, I'm going to try and be two-sided about this. I mean, the match we was hoping would go a longer time and would be probably a better match to put James Storm over, but at the same time, I can understand it in a sense that you're trying to get the pay-per-view off to a kind of a fast start, and so you have this whole James Storm winning in a minute, the crowd going, yay, it's a bit of a mark-out moment. I mean, I understand that, but I'm kind of slightly on NJ's side here in the fact that I felt it should have definitely gone longer, maybe been higher up the card. I can understand TNA's logic here, but it should really have gone longer, and I have this thing only a minute. I know they're trying to put over James Storm strong, and they're trying to give like a holy shit mark-out moment to the TNA Impact Wrestling crowd fans who don't really make that much noise in there. But it was too short, and it should definitely have been longer and higher up on the card, and more of a better match to put James Storm over, even though he went over very strong.
Because the whole thing is, late in this show, we get stuff that went on too long, and the time that could have been shortened in the future could have been given to this. It was just not a really good start. I just didn't feel that. I thought
it wasn't a good start from our standpoint, but in terms of the crowd, they were pretty fucking hot for this. So that led on to the second match, which was Austin Aries versus Zema for the TNA X Division Championship. One of the best matches of the night, would you not say?
Well, the way this match was going, it had two wrestlers that had the strong build going into this, something that we were looking forward to. And the way they had Austin Aries up to that celebration being the longest reigning X Division champ, and Irons being this guy who's been pushed pretty good to be this opponent for Aries, it was a good match for the card.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of feel this should have been higher up on the card, because with a match like this being so good, it really sets a high standard for the rest of the pay-per-view, which sometimes it can't be matched. So I do think this should really have been higher up on the card, especially seeing as this is kind of like the second-tier championship in TNA now, because the TNA title's a joke. But the crowd was very behind Austin Aries, as we expected. He was the face in this match. And, you know, Austin Aries started tweeting during the match. Awesome tweet. I mean, the match itself was very good. It'll probably get on my top 10 so far in 2012. And Austin Aries gets sprayed in the eyes with the hairspray, and later on he wins with the Brainbuster and Last Chancery combination, which is very good. When he was, you know, he couldn't see anything, and the crowd was telling him where Zema was. I thought that was a nice little touch there. Although he did beat Zema blind, but it kind of made Iron look a little bit like a chump. But it was still a very good match.
Well, what's about this match, it was flowing quite nicely. Things were going, yeah, there was a few botches you don't expect in wrestling matches, but we could look past them. Just the quality of the match outdid the botches. And the way they do it, you do expect a great match for Austin Aries and giving a good match with Irons. And the way they did at the end, again, you can expect good ends from Austin Aries, and the way they finished it, it left the crowd happy and the match with the perfect ending. That's all I can say about this.
True. We'll move on then. We got the news also that Motor City Machine Guns are going to be coming back soon, so I assume they're going to feud with Magnus and Joe at Lockdown for the TNA Tag Team Championships. And I must admit, inside a steel cage, I would look forward to that match very much so, as I do like the Motor City Machine Guns.
And with the cage matches, as we've seen TNA's past, they do put on good cage matches, and the fact they're going to have it in a tag kind of way, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a good way to see another tag team getting involved in a strong way going towards the tag titles.
Let's face it, the tag team championships need it, because as we saw from this next match, we're probably going to get a Crimson Morgan match at Lockdown, haven't we? In the next match, we've got the TNA Tag Team Championship match. Again, I thought this could have been higher on the card, considering what it was going to do. We'll talk about that in a minute. Magnus and Samoa Joe go in as the champions against Crimson and Matt Morgan. We had a nice... One thing TNA did well tonight was they had a lot of video packages throughout the night, which kind of helped us. And they kind of teased that Crimson heel turn as well, using the video package. And I think that really led us into the match very effectively, in my opinion.
The way they did it with the video packages, they did that pretty well throughout the night, I think, in different areas, just pointing stuff out, giving the matches hype and that. And that going into the match, giving the whole talk between Morgan and Crimson, gave you a good feeling that there could be something there, because Crimson was sounding like the dominant one, the one that's going to be doing the work in this match. Yeah,
and basically, you had 10.5 minutes here of decent tag team action, but the main thing about this segment was that you gave Magnus and Samoa Joe a victory while also teasing this Crimson heel turn, and eventually it came when he speared Matt Morgan. And I've got to admit, it was very well executed, the heel turn.
Because the way they did it, Crimson was outside the ring. You had Matt Morgan in the ring dominating, looking good, fighting against two on his own. And I really thought, are they going to do it? But obviously he does come in a spear and gives the win to Samoa Joe and Magnus.
Yep, and that leads very well into their match. We assume they're going to have the match at Lockdown. So I mean, this segment wasn't the best match, but it was a very good segment in the sense that it was very effective in setting up a bigger match, and also giving Samoa Joe and Magnus the win if they're going to feud with Motor City Machine Guns, which we feel they are going to do.
I feel it was a pretty good match, because you could see throughout the match that Crimson was trying to be the dominant one that's going to stay away from the tag and just do things on his own, while Matt Morgan was wanting this match for himself because he thought it was smooth. So I like how the way they did this match. It was very nicely booked, ready for the future, going to the next pay-per-view.
Well executed.
That's it. Yeah.
We then had an interview with Bobby Roode, where they had a bit of interaction between him and Storm, and I'm like, well, they got a match at Lockdown, so that's good. They're at least including that on the pay-per-view. You have James Storm saying he's looking for a fight. It's just a shame that wouldn't really take into account in the main event, but there we go.
No, that was good. I like these backstage stuff before matches, hyping the wrestlers up. So I thought they did that pretty well, and you got the competition between those two, which maybe could have been saved for the main event, but we don't get that. We'll get to that later.
Robbie E's Open Challenge. Oh, God, this was an interesting segment, to say the least. You had Robbie E coming out saying that everyone who is contracted to a match tonight, and it's not going to happen. And then you have this kind of like really long segment where he's trying to pick people from the fans, and it was quite long and drawn out. And by the time Devon got out, we were a little bit like, oh, if he came out, quickish, it would have been a bit more effective, wouldn't it? But I mean, you give your thoughts.
Well, the way that Robert E was speaking, I really thought Rob Terry was going to be his opponent and laid down.
He wasn't on the list.
No, but the way it was going, I thought they were going to have Rob Terry just laying down, getting the pin, match over, move on. But the time they built up to this just dragged, and just thought, just give us the opponent.
Yeah.
They were going through the audience member, come and fight me. It just really was boring. Then you have Devon. Devon is a guy that I think should maybe be involved in a better way, but the way he won this match, yes, everyone's happy that we got the title of Robbie E and onto Devon, but now it seems like we're going to get Devon and Pope in a rematch, but the only difference is the TV title's going to be on the line.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I'll just say this: Robbie E isn't the champion anymore. Thank fuck for that. Any one of the Robbie E was a better champion. Devon is a better champion, and at least the crowd were behind it. It's Devon's first singles title victory. He was trending worldwide #1, so people obviously gave a shit about it. And I'm just, the match went about 3 minutes. Devon won in a strong way. It's just that they didn't set it up brilliantly, in my opinion. But I'm still glad that Robbie E isn't the fucking champion, because he was dragging that fucking title down big time.
That's all to say. This part, yes, it got the new champion, but it just didn't do much for the show for me.
Gail Kim versus Madison Rayne for the TNA Knockouts Championship. I think going into this match, we weren't incredibly interested, mainly because of the introduction of Madison Rayne. When Gail Kim came out, it kind of seemed like she was face at first, but then That obviously didn't happen during the match. I think the one thing here that we noticed was that the crowd were completely dead. And it's no surprise because who really gave a shit about Gail Kim versus Madison Rayne? Gail Kim, yes, but Madison Rayne, no.
This is boring. This is boring.
Didn't say anything. There was no chance.
That's my chant. This is boring.
Right, this match to me, it went about 7 minutes, and I felt that Gail Kim actually carried Madison to one of her better matches, in my opinion. And Gail Kim got the clean victory. It's just a shame the crowd were dead, but I can't really blame them because no one really wanted to see the match. And to be honest, we were the same. I just think that the execution was okay in the sense that Gail Kim actually carried Madison Rayne to a somewhat decent match, better than what she really deserves.
Yeah.
Is that what you have to say?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move on to the tag match then. My opinion stands, brother. AJ Styles and Mr. Anderson versus Daniels and Kaz. Do you want to start us up on this one?
Yeah, we have the face team, AJ Styles and Mr. Anderson, going against the assholes in Daniels and Kazarian. And this match, awesomeness. We have Anderson back in his rematch. AJ, a good match here, like we said in our predictions. Anything could flow from this match. But the thing is, they didn't really give us, even backstage segments, didn't really hype up this match or the direction of where they're going to go to next. So, disappointing, but overall a good match for what we got.
I think the problem with this story is that they didn't really accomplish too, like in the tag team segment we got Crimson's heel turn, you know, but they didn't seem to accomplish very much in this segment. And I don't think the storytelling was really helped here by the fact that, you know, I mean, you had AJ Styles win the match. It was a very nice finish with the fade to black to, you know, AJ to the Styles Clash thing, but it's just the match just seemed to be there. It didn't really seem to accomplish very much on the road to Lockdown, which I really felt this pay-per-view match needed to. It was a decent tag match. I was surprised it got so long. I really felt they could have added that to other times in the card, or like, say, for example, a Bully Ray James Storm match. But you know, it just seemed to be there. It didn't really seem to do much, and that's why I wasn't a massive fan of this match. But I still thought it was worked okay. It was an okay match. Just a shame it didn't do too much for the future or the Lockdown.
Yeah, it didn't really give us a feeling, but I'm pretty sure they had this match for a reason. So I'm expecting something in the TV shows coming up for them to be building it towards a rematch or pairing off a feud. But I expect there's going to be more from this.
Oh, what a surprise. TNA saving all the good shit for the TV show, eh?
That's probably going to be it, yeah.
But anyway, let's just move on. Kurt Angle versus Jeff Hardy. Would you say the best match of the night?
The way this match was, got a great amount of time,
Yes.
and there was just so much going into this match that it just gave us the match that we were wanting for between these two. But the thing I want to point out first is Angle said these important words. Jeff Hardy, I hate you. And when he said that, I thought, I can actually feel Angle's words as he went into this match.
The crowd were very hot for this, and I will say this, as much as people don't like Jeff Hardy because of his drug issues and stuff, the fact that the crowd are so high on him is a good thing for TNA. I know I used that term very well, didn't I? But the crowd were very hot for this match, and this match to me, it told the best story of the night. You had little subtle things there, like Kurt Angle, you know, trying to rub off Jeff Hardy's face paint and stamping on his hair and everything. Little subtle things like that really did help this match. And the match started off very slow. I think we both realised that. It started off very slow, but it built very well to that heel-like finish. And the match itself, I thought, was very good. I mean, I'd love to see it's done its job in that it was a good match. It set up a rematch at Lockdown, and we've seen from the previous years in Lockdown that Angle usually has pretty good cage matches. In Anderson, he had a great one at Lockdown 2010 in Anderson, a great one against Jarrett in 2011. So to see these two go at Lockdown, which I assume is going to happen now, I'm all for, and it accomplished that very well.
Well, the fact that they were going to give us the warm-up towards the main event, these two gave us the great warm-up, gave us a real exciting match, and it was going for it. People complain how it finished, but the way it finished, it really gave you a feeling that Jeff Hardy's going to see that, want a rematch, build it up over the month to the next pay-per-view, give us the rematch, and they've done it before. Angle's won the first match, building it to a big base win at a big pay-per-view.
Yep.
So all expected Jeff to win the next one, but I really like how this was done. Hand on the rope, well done Angle, great match.
Yeah, even though the referee was a little bit out of position, but what do you expect? So yeah, exactly. So a good match which accomplished a lot, and that's what this pay-per-view is essentially all about, setting up for Lockdown, isn't it? So move on to the main event then.
The main event.
Oh, the main event, ANJ. Bobby Roode versus Sting in a no-holds-barred match. What do you say about this match, really? Where do we start? It wasn't really too much weapon usage, was there? Which I think we was kind of expecting from this match. They brawled around the ring a little bit. I mean, but they didn't use I expected a bit more weapon usage in this, if I'm honest, especially with Sting not being able to wrestle too much now. I expected them to sort of use a couple of weapons to cover his weaknesses a little bit, personally.
I did expect that because going into the match, it was about 5, even more minutes going into the match before we got the whole Roode actually realising he couldn't keep Sting down, so bringing a steel chair. But the fact is, it's a no-holds-barred match. You do expect over-the-top weapon usage, great moments like we've seen in Bully Ray and Abyss using the weapons. I know it's a different match, but there was so much weapon usage compared to this one, and it's bad. But the thing is, it's good to see a solid match between the two. Them actually battling each other, and the crowd was saying you still got it to Sting. So there was going into this match even without the weapons.
I mean, it wasn't a good to great match. It was a decent match. Don't get me wrong. I just don't feel this really accomplished what it needed to. I mean, you had the whole finish where Sting smashes his head on the chair, and that allows Robert Roode to get the win. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, that's a fluke victory. I really felt that Roode really needed a clean victory at this pay-per-view, where he went over a big name like Sting, and it seemed to me like a fluke victory, and I'm really not for that in my opinion. I understand it's a clean victory, but it wasn't a victory which he got. It was a fluke victory which Sting made the mistake.
I could be wrong here, but the only way I think it finished like this is because maybe that chair shot actually did hurt Sting in some way. They just thought, no, we can't continue. This is not going to do good for Sting. So maybe the match would have continued and gave us the extra minute, and that's why the ending was pretty sucky. Yeah. So I think maybe it could have gone on more, but they just thought this is not right for Sting. Maybe.
You would say a decent match with a bad ending, but overall, I didn't think it did what it needed to do for Bobby Roode, and especially for Lockdown, because we had that post-match segment where Bobby Roode brings Dixie Carter into the ring. He attacks Sting with the chair, takes him to the ring. And we're sitting there thinking, James Storm and Bully Ray had this face-off earlier on in the night, and we're thinking, where the fuck is he during all this? Like, where the hell is James Storm? If James Storm would have come out here, it would have at least, even though Bobby Roode didn't look strong, and this segment really went on too long and really was very confusing in my opinion, at least it would have done something for Lockdown, and you had James Storm and Bobby Roode confronting each other in the post-match main event of Victory Road.
Well, the way the end of the match was going, the time it was given, I just thought they're bound to be building up to this big moment when Storm comes to the rescue, but no, they just went back and forward, giving Bobby Roode this big ending. But the reason I think it went on for so long is because the botch ending, in my opinion, but it just didn't really leave the pay-per-view with a good ending, in my opinion.
Yes, I mean, you had Bobby Roode standing over Sting with the chair, with, he was knocked out and everything with Dixie Carter there. Not sure why they brought Dixie in there. I thought, wasn't too high on that, but, at the end of the day, you had Bobby Roode win. He was stood over Sting, just not as effective as I thought it should be, in my opinion. I mean, I don't really see what the post-match did, especially without James Storm. I really think James Storm should have been a part of this post-match segment to set up Lockdown a little bit better. Even if you hadn't done an effective segment, at least having James Storm out there would have given the crowd a nice, would have made the crowd pop, would have sent them home a bit happier. I just think they could have done this differently. It was it drawed out a little bit, didn't it? And it was kind of just like, rather than good.
Sadly, yes, because of this, it really left us with Roode and Sting, not Roode and Storm, which is the next pay-per-view thing. So it kind of made me think that this ending didn't really do its justice.
I wonder if something's going to happen on the TV show that should have happened at the pay-per-view. I just wonder. It wouldn't surprise me with TNA with their focus on TV ratings. But there we go. Our review of the pay-per-view. What are your overall thoughts on this pay-per-view, NJ?
Okay, in our predictions video, we were giving all these high hopes, all these high wonders, saying this is good, this is good, this is good, this is what we predict. Yes, our predictions may have gone the right way, but it just didn't feel like the big pay-per-view or big filler pay-per-view that I was hoping for.
I will say this, it did do some stuff for Lockdown. The Austin Aries Zema Iron match was very good. The Magnus, the tag team title segment did a lot for Lockdown in that it set up Crimson and Matt Morgan. You also had a good match between Hardy and Angle, which I think will set up a brilliant match at Lockdown in the cage. The AJ Styles Anderson tag match really didn't do that much to me in terms of setting up Lockdown, which I feel this pay-per-view should really have been focused on. And the main event to me was decent, but it didn't. Again, I didn't feel some of the segments accomplished what they needed to. Giving Devon the TV title win was, it wasn't great, but at least it gets it off Robbie E. So it did some things right to set up Lockdown, but other things weren't done as effectively as I thought they could have done, despite having some good matches on this card.
Well, that's the thing. Now, big concentration on now is, and especially TNA, is the build towards Lockdown. Can they give us what we want, what we expect? the big matches that we expect at a big pay-per-view. All we can see is tune in for the TNA TV shows.
Yeah, indeed. And if you have any thoughts on this TNA pay-per-view, get them in that comment section below. NJ, do you have a grade for this pay-per-view?
I'm trying to be fair, but at the same time, I didn't feel it was the pay-per-view that I was going into, so it's going to be a C plus B minus.
Yeah, I'd go with that. Like I said, some of it was effective. Some of it I didn't feel was as effective as it should have been. But hopefully the TV show will improve that. So that has been our review from the British Fist. And now it's time to end with our version of the main event that usually always delivers, brother. It's no other than NJ. Take it away.
I know. Now, people, what I can say is thank you for tuning for this review. Please share your thoughts on the good, the bad, and the ugly in the comment section below. Until next time, people, from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, goodbye.